Today, breaking news, 10 dead, dozens injured as a ute ploughs into a crowd of people in New Orleans. 3 Virgin Australia staff involved in an alleged sexual assault in Fiji. A woman killed after falling from a building in Western Sydney. Emergency warnings in place as flash flooding threatens communities northwest of Brisbane. AFL Tigers player Noah Bolter charged after a man is hospitalised. And where you can see Robbie Williams perform live at no cost today, Thursday, the 2nd of January 2025. Good morning and welcome to Today Early News. We begin with breaking news out of the United States, where at least 10 people have been killed after a truck ploughed into a crowd of people in New Orleans. And a warning, the vision in this story is confronting.
Because of the intentional mindset of this perpetrator who went around our barricades in order to conduct this, he was hell-bent on creating the carnage and the damage that he did.
Live to 9 US correspondent Jonathan Kersley in Los Angeles. Jono, dozens of others have also been injured.
And this is being investigated as a possible act of terrorism by the FBI. It was just after 3:15 in the morning, New Orleans time. It's around about 7:15 Australian Eastern Daylight Time that this white pickup truck, essentially larger than a 4-door ute, came careering down Bourbon Street in New Orleans. It is a hugely popular tourist destination in New Orleans in Louisiana, in what is a party city. That van careering at speed ploughed into a crowd of people, revellers who had been out celebrating New Year's Eve and were into New Year's Day. Authorities say that at least 10 people are dead, 35 people are injured and in hospital, and the suspect has now been identified as 42-year-old Shamsuddin Jabbar, who sources have told some outlets is a native to Texas, a US citizen, and had actually been seen with that vehicle waving an ISIS flag from the top of that vehicle. That has been reported by some news outlets here in the United States of America. Police responded very, very quickly into the scene to try and evacuate some people into clubs, as you can see here, to try and also secure the scene and make it safe. But ultimately, it was just a scene of utter carnage. Jabbar, the 42-year-old suspect, was confirmed by authorities to have died, and this is now a major operation for police to try and establish exactly what his motivation was behind carrying out this attack and whether there are any other people involved. For witnesses, for the people who were there on the scene, it was something of sheer horror. There are now 10 families, at least, mourning loved ones lost, and for witnesses, they're left to retell what is simply harrowing accounts.
We ran upstairs to the balcony area that we knew was there. And when we got up there, it wasn't anyone chasing anybody. It was just unimaginable casualty. I mean, just the disfigurement and the bodies strewn, something you can't unsee, you'll never forget.
And we are learning some more about the victims too, Maggie, in this. The mother of one young victim, Nikira Dodo, an 18-year-old graduate from Mississippi, is confirmed among the fatalities killed in this, what is now possibly a terrorist attack in the United States on New Year's Day. Her mother has described her as somebody who was sweet and loving. From the country's leaders, well, US President Joe Biden says he's been kept briefed across today, leaving Wilmington, Delaware. You can see him here speaking with reporters earlier today. He said that there is no justification for violence of any kind, and we will not tolerate any attack on any of our nation's communities, adding that his heart goes out to the victims and their families, who he says was simply trying to celebrate the holiday. From President-elect Donald Trump, well, there was some sort of suggestion about America's crime rate and suggestion that this person may have come from outside the United States. That's being reported now not to be the case, that he was actually a US citizen. But Donald Trump went on to say that essentially he believed that this was an act of pure evil and that the Trump administration, incoming Trump administration, would assist New Orleans in its recovery. But this just hours after this awful attack on New Year's Day in New Orleans, in a party city where Thousands of revellers had been packing the streets, and now there are families left to mourn loved ones lost, and the United States facing the prospect that terrorism has taken place on its own soil, possibly from one of its own citizens, on the first day of 2025.
Jonathan Kersley reporting there. 3 Virgin Australia staff have been confined to their hotel rooms in Fiji over an incident linked to theft and alleged sexual assault of 2 airline crew members. Local media reporting the matter took place after an evening of clubbing in Nandi on Tuesday. The airline has confirmed an incident occurred and has sent staff over to provide support, while DFAT says it's aware of the situation. A woman has died after falling from a 9-storey building in Western Sydney overnight. Let's go live to Jack Hahn, who is at the scene in Parramatta. Jack, what do we know?
Yeah, good morning to you, Maggie. Well, we're joining you from River Road West here in Parramatta, and as you can see, there is still a very large crime scene set up as we come on the air. More than 10 police vehicles, also forensics and detectives have been sent here to the scene. Emergency services first scrambling here just before 2 o'clock, finding a woman in a very bad way. Despite the efforts of police and paramedics, she passed away at the scene. It's believed that she has fallen several stories from a building. How exactly she has fallen is now the subject of an investigation. It is reported that a man is assisting with inquiries, Maggie, but it's too early to rule anything in or out. Back to you.
Jack, thank you. Richmond player Noah Bolter is facing assault charges after a New Year's Eve altercation on the New South Wales-Victorian border. The incident happened in Mulwala, leaving a 27-year-old man in hospital with lacerations to his head. The Richmond Football Club has made the AFL aware of the incident. Bolter will face court at the end of the month. Police are piecing together whether 2 blind factory arson attacks in Victoria are linked. The head office of Dollar Curtains and Blinds in Kilsyth now left to ashes only weeks after Paramount Blinds in Bayswater was set alight. It's still not known why they were attacked. Now to a Today weather alert. An emergency warning is in place for parts of Queensland today as flash flooding threatens communities northwest of Brisbane. Residents in the South Burnett region are being urged to watch and act. The alert comes just days after towns were swamped by severe thunderstorms and heavy rainfall in the area. A bushfire is continuing to burn out of control this morning near a prison northeast of Perth. The blaze at the lakes in the Shire of Mundaring is right now heading in an easterly direction, but has been downgraded to a watch and act alert level after it tore through sheds and injured a firefighter.
Fire has broken out near Acacia Prison. Fire brigade on their way.
We're very confident the prison is defendable and safe at the moment. We have Korea appliances sitting with the Acacia prison at the moment.
There are unconfirmed reports of a home also being lost. Roadside breath tests are dropping in New South Wales while alcohol-related fatal crashes are continuing to rise. RBTs are down to 10% in the first 10 months of last year compared to 2023. Police claiming staff shortages are to blame, emphasising the overall number for 2024 will jump after the November and December statistics become available. The Australian Test team will hold a public training session today ahead of tomorrow's final Test match against India. Australian fans will be able to get one last glimpse of the squad, but India will continue to do the opposite, demanding blackout curtains on the gates of training nets. Both teams met Prime Minister Anthony Albanese at Kirribilli House yesterday for a New Year's Eve reception against the must-win match. Today's top stories. Alex de Minaur has put his 2 arrivals on notice ahead of the first Grand Slam of the season. Australia's top-ranked tennis player producing a stunning point at the United Cup and obliterating Great Britain's Billy Harris 6-2, 6-1 to level the tie in Sydney.
Come on. You can't do that, can you? You bet he can.
This was the old me. I got my legs back, everybody. I'm back.
The Demon backing up the win, the mixed doubles alongside Olivia Gadecki, but it wasn't enough to get the job done at Ken Rosewell Arena. The locals required a 3-love win over the Brits to top Group F and directly qualify for the quarterfinals. The Melbourne Stars have broken an 8-game losing streak in the Big Bash with a 5-wicket win over defending champions, the Brisbane Heat. Glenn Maxwell putting on a big show at the Gabba, taking one of the best catches in the competition's history on the boundary.
Lawrence into the attack with that unusual action. Prestwidge doesn't stand around and wait for it. What about this from Maxwell? Well, there you go. Unbelievable. We've seen some incredible stuff this summer, but that is the catch of the year. Maxwell, like LeBron James, flying through the air, flicks it back and takes something that only Glenn Maxwell could do.
Skipper Marcus Stoinis and Dan Lawrence both scored half-centuries to guide the Stars home. Taking a look at the weather across the country, Brisbane, a shower or two and 27 degrees. Sydney can also expect a shower and 24, 25 and cloudy for Canberra. Melbourne 21 and partly cloudy, similar and 20 for Hobart. Adelaide sunny and 29, 30 and sunny for Perth. Darwin a shower or two and 35 degrees. Straight ahead of today, early news, chaos on the streets of Germany with 5 dead in fireworks incidents and riots. Plus a hot air balloon ride that takes a wild turn in Victoria. And this Superstars no-cost concert right across Australia. This is Today Early News on 9, and where you go, we're streaming on 9 Now. New Year's Eve celebrations have descended in chaos in Germany as 5 people are killed due to fireworks. Live now to 9 Europe correspondent Edward Godfrey in London. Edward, riots also took place across several cities.
Yeah, they have. A night of celebration has been marred with a number of violent incidents and tragic accidents across the country. It's one of the only times where amateur fireworks are permitted, and some have been used to target police and emergency services personnel. German officials say at least 5 people have been killed and many injured in a spate of incidents, some through deliberate attacks, others accidental. This footage posted claiming to show some of the mayhem. In the capital, Berlin, firefighters responded to more than 1,800 incidents, more than 300 people detained by police. In Munich, fireworks sparked a blaze at an apartment building. Children among those seriously hurt in incidents in Germany's 3rd largest city. Extra police had been deployed in anticipation of this kind of behaviour, which has happened in the past, but it's been worse this year than last year. There had been calls for a nationwide ban on amateur fireworks, and those calls only growing louder now as a result.
Edward Godfrey, thank you. A Tesla Cybertruck has gone up in flames near the main entrance of the Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas. The fire has now been extinguished. A teenager has been king hit, another stabbed and 3-year-old injured during New Year's Eve celebrations across Sydney's suburbs. From Auburn to Chester Hill, Sefton, Baralla and Botany, a spate of crime as illegal firework displays lit up the night sky. The state's police commissioner has condemned the incidents and the use of fireworks across the city. A man has been charged after a Toyota Hilux ploughed into a Queensland home moments before the new year. It's understood the 26-year-old, who was allegedly behind the wheel, was gate-crashing a party at a house in Corinda. The home has been deemed unlivable as crews work to repair a gas line ruptured in the crash.
I came home to about 17 firemen and policemen, and just a Toyota truck kind of in the garage just behind me here. It's a bit shocking to know that kind of like living on, within the same streets as someone with that kind of mentality.
The driver has been charged with driving under the influence and is set to face court in the coming weeks. 19 people have been bailed and banned from using public transport in Adelaide for 3 months after a violent brawl broke out on a bus. Witnesses say the group used rocks and ripped seats from the bus to use as weapons after the driver picked them up in the city yesterday morning.
I thought they're gonna throw stones or they got a knife or stuff. So, yeah, so there were 20, so I was scared. Yeah.
The situation getting worse, and more people can get stabbed or whatever. They're fighting. Seriously.
19 people aged from just 13 through to 58 were arrested by police. A hot air balloon operator has had a shaky start to the new year after his craft became entangled with a lightning tower at a sports ground in Fairfield. Fire Rescue Victoria's high-angle rescue specialists were called in. After council workers cut power to the pole, they were able to remove the balloon. No one was injured. The balloon's basket was not attached at the time. Housing prices have fallen across the country for the first time in 2 years, with Sydney and Melbourne driving the fall. Experts blaming the December drop of 0.1% on high interest rates, claiming prices in larger cities will continue to fall until they do. The RBA has kept rates at 4.35 in order to fight inflation, but traders expect them to be cut in April. Major boosts could be made to Medicare ahead of the next federal election in a cost of living bid by Labor to increase primary votes. Bulk billing, the GP workforce and urgent care clinics could all see the boost, with Anthony Albanese likely to reveal more early this year. Looking at the markets on Wall Street, the Dow Jones is down 29 points and the S&P 500 is also in the red. At home, the All Ords closed down yesterday 75 points. In London, the FTSE ended up. Commodities and gold is at $2,606 an ounce, silver 28, and oil is at $74 a barrel. Coming up on Today Early News, Australia confident Saw Mitchell Starc will line up in the New Year's Test. Plus, curtains close on the entertaining Nick and Novak show at the Brisbane International. And Robbie Williams to rock on at no cost. Welcome back to Today Early News. Our top stories direct from the 9 newsroom this Thursday. Breaking news out of the United States, where 10 people have been killed and more than 30 injured after a pickup truck ploughed into a crowd of people in New Orleans. The FBI says they're working to find out if a possible explosive device found at the scene is viable. 3 Virgin Australia staff have been confined to their hotel rooms in Fiji over an incident linked to theft and alleged sexual assault of 2 airline crew members. The airline has sent staff over to provide support, while DFAT says it's aware of the situation. And police are looking into the death of a woman who fell from a 9-storey building in Western Sydney. Australian wicketkeeper Alex Carey has dismissed concerns surrounding Mitchell Starc's fitness for the final test against India at the SCG. The fast bowler is expected to push through a rib injury he sustained earlier this week.
I've played with Starkey for a long time now, and one of the toughest cricketers I've played with. So he'll grimace, he'll grab his rib, no doubt, throughout times, but he'll be ready for the contest.
Carey is also confident embattled all-rounder Mitch Marsh will play and perform under immense pressure. The Nick and Novak show has come to an end at the Brisbane International after being eliminated by the tournament's top seeds. The theatrics and bromance were all on display at Pat Rafter Arena as the star duo gave the doubles specialists a battle in the second round. Night.
Brilliant. That's a great lob from Kyrgios.
Kyrgios will now return to his home base in Canberra to prepare for the Australian Open, while Djokovic will be back on the court today for his second round singles match. The Wanderers and MacArthur opened the new year in spectacular fashion, putting on a final goal thriller at CommBank Stadium. Former Premier League star Juan Mata scored his final goal in Australian football, but it wasn't enough to inspire Western Sydney to victory. The Bulls charging up to second on the A-League's men's ladder with a 3-2 win, emerging midfielder Jed Drew bagging his first half double. A new year brings new beginnings for Australian swimming star Emily Seebohm, who's announced she's hanging up her goggles for good. Marking her Olympics debut in Beijing in 2008 at the age of 16, the backstroker went on to win 3 gold, 3 silver and a bronze medal. The 32-year-old's mother says you'll find her near the water, just not behind the blocks. Stay with us. Coming up, Robbie Williams to rock on at no cost. And then it's time for Today, but first your local weather forecast. This is Today Early News live on 9 and 9 now. Before we get to the weather, Robbie Williams is giving Melbourne a treat today, performing live at Federation Square for free, promoting his new biopic movie Better Man, which was filmed in the city. The British superstar will be up at 5 p.m. performing a small selection of mega hits before he heads to a gala screening and takes part in a Q&A style interview. Taking a look at today's weather, satellite shows scattered convective clouds around parts of the country in association with low pressure and troughs over Western Australia, northern areas of the Northern Territory and also across northern and eastern areas of Queensland. Elsewhere, cloud is well broken with fine and settled weather traversing around areas in the southern area, association with high pressure to the south. Temps around the country today: Brisbane, shower or two and 27. Sydney can also expect a shower and 24. 25 and cloudy for Canberra. Melbourne 21 and partly cloudy. Similar and 20 for Hobart. Adelaide sunny and 29. 30 and sunny for Perth. Darwin a shower or two and 35 degrees. It's coming up at 5:30. Today's top stories.